In this module, we will have a look at widgets. Widgets are a great tool that will allow you to add information to the player screen. We will add a health bar to the player screen, and we will update it when our health is updated in the player character. Alright, in our blueprints and then first person template folder, I'm going to create our widget. Right mouse button, user interface, and then widget blueprint. WB health bar. Open it up. Now a lot of this is going to be new to you, but we're just gonna go and hopefully things will start to make sense as we tackle this. We have our details panel here, so we know that one. And we have our palettes. This contains all the different types of buttons and components that you can add. And then we have our hierarchy, and this is basically the screen as we see it. So I'm going to start off with a horizontal box because I want to have the text that says health, and then I want a health bar, and I want that to be together in one box. So I'll look for horizontal box. You can drag that in. And now we can actually add text and a progress bar to that horizontal box. So here we can already see text under common. I can drag that on top of the horizontal box. You can see it appear. And there's also a progress bar under common, and we can also drag that on top of the horizontal box, and it will be placed after the text. When we click text, we can see in the details panel a whole bunch of settings. Now the one that's most important to us right now is just text, and we want that to say health. You can also change the color, the font. You can add an outline, which is pretty nice. We'll do that right now. That's under font, outline settings. Let's put that to 1. And then let's change the size to 15. Compile and save. When we look at our progress bar, we can see that it's pretty small. We want that to fill this whole space basically. So in the details panel, we can already see the slot settings, size. Let's put that to fill. And we can see that it filled it out completely. Maybe we can do vertical alignment. That will make it a bit small. Now, if we change the horizontal box, if we change those dimensions, it will also change that of our health bar. So you can make that the size you want. And then we select our progress bar, and in the details panel, you can see the style. So you can set the background image, the fill image. We can set the percent, the fill color and opacity. Let's put the default to green. And there's a whole bunch more settings. Under the progress category, we can see the percent variable. And next to it, it says bind. We can create a binding. The downside, however, of this is that the binding is executed on tick. So every frame, a binding is executed. It will check our player health. We don't need to always check our player's health. We just needed to check our health or update the health bar when we take damage. And we know when that event takes place. That is one event in our character blueprint. So it's not a lot of effort to tell our health bar, update when I update, instead of always checking. So we won't be using this. Going to compile, save. And we'll go to the graph. Now this looks very familiar. And here we have event construct. This is basically the widget's version of begin play. So what do we want to do? Well, we need to have access to the health, and we need to be able to update the health. So let's create a custom event. Right mouse button, add custom event. And we'll call this update health bar. Now, what do we need when we're updating the health bar? Well, we need the player's health. So in the details panel, when we have the update health bar event selected, we can add an input, new parameter, and it will automatically add a boolean for us. Of course, we want this to be a float, and we'll call that health. Now the progress bar goes from 0 to 1. We have a maximum health of 100, so that would be 1. So our current health, we can divide by our maximum health in order to get its percentage going from 0. So we'll drag off and do float divided by float, and we will divide it by 100. Then we have a reference to our progress bar. We can do a get, and then we can call set percent. So we can actually update the percentage of our progress bar. Make sure to connect these two. So now we can call update health bar. We can give the health variable. We divide it by our maximum health, which is 100, and then we can update the percentage. Now a nice little detail to add is to see what the percentage is like. So just when we go back to designer, we can see the appearance, fill, color, and opacity. Let's see if we can change that. Set, fill, color, and opacity. There we go. It's there. Press enter, and we have it. So now we can change the color depending on our health. What we can do here is add a select. And we need the second one, select utility. And we need to create a rule. So we'll get our health. If our health is smaller than 50, float smaller than float, let's make that 50, then we want our health bar to be red. You could take this a lot further, you can make a lot more colors, a lot more checks, but we'll just do green or red. So if it's smaller than 50, we'll make it red. If it's bigger than 50, we will make it green. Compile and save. We don't need to do anything on construct. We don't need to do anything before it's constructed. We don't need to do anything on tick. This is it. Let's comment our code, update health bar, compile and save. We are pretty much done here in the widget. Feel free to have a look at other common components. We're going back to the first person player character to start our widget. We want to do that on begin play. So let's make some room. Move sprint over a little bit. Drag this out. On begin play, we want to create a widget, which is called create widget. And we want to make sure that that is set to our health bar, which is right here, WB health bar. But we aren't done yet. When you create a widget, it just means that it exists. It doesn't mean yet that it is added to our viewport. So after creating it, we need to call add to viewport. This way, it's actually added to our screen. I'm going to move sprint over just a little bit further because we also need a reference to our health bar widget. I'm going to right mouse button, promote to variable, and we'll call this WB health bar. Because we now have a reference to it, we can now make changes or call events, which is what we need. Zoom out, go back to the only place right now that we take damage, zoom in. So right here, before the branch takes place, we need to get our health bar. And we can now call update health bar. And we'll place that in the middle. Move this down a little bit. And we can feed in our new health into the update health bar. Compile and save. And when we press play, we now have a health bar. And when I press B, you can see I start taking damage. And when I go below 50, the health bar color will change to red. That was our introduction to widgets. But feel free to add more information to your screen.